Here are ways to keep your life running smoothly and prevent further episodes of anxiety, which often could lead to symptoms of depersonalization. I have followed these examples and found they allow one to keep stress to a minimum and life running smoothly. What a relief! Remember, you cannot eliminate stress from your life completely because you're human and we all have stress. But you're able to deal with it effectively and ward off future bouts of anxiety reactions, which, as I said, could sometimes lead to depersonalization symptoms. What I mean by this is you can have anxiety without depersonalization, but depersonalization cannot exist without anxiety symptoms behind it. And so, to keep anxiety and stress at a minimum, here are some suggestions you can follow. Maintain a healthy life by choosing to follow our diet and nutrition suggestions. You may not choose to eliminate sugar from your life completely, especially when there are so many added sugars in food, so it would be really difficult. But you may want to cut back considerably, especially when stresses or tensions rise. Whenever I notice my stress is rising and my life is no longer working the way I would like it to be, I stop and take a time out to rethink my food choices. I can assure you I usually discover I had been eating too much sugar, rushing through meals, taking in junk food on the run, or eating less nutritious and less whole foods. It never ceases to amaze me how quickly I can turn around the course of events by changing my diet. I start out by eliminating bread from my breakfast or cutting back to one slice. Remember, starchy carbs such as breads metabolize into sugar, and that causes sometimes too much energy in your body. With me, it's no longer anxiety, but sometimes I can feel irritable. And so it does help to cut back on starchy carbs such as breads. And we're not talking about eliminating, just cutting back a little bit. You can even check out the carbohydrates that metabolize a little bit slower, and do this by checking the glycemic index we've included. When I do this, my mornings change from frantic to calm and I get so much more accomplished. I've removed one of the interfering factors and my environment is more conducive to handling stress. It makes sense. This helps tremendously. I love the way it instantly works, too. It makes a world of difference. My irritability factor diminishes and the stresses become tolerable. So whether you feel irritable, anxious, or stressed out, watch your diet and make good choices. It's a simple choice and it works wonders. Prevention of depersonalization always begins with simple choices. Be aware around the holidays, even more so. More candy, cakes, and goodies come into the house, and it's hard to ignore these foods when they're staring you in the eye as you enter the kitchen. At least try to keep them away in cabinets or drawers. It helps if you don't see them immediately. The first step is to avoid places that sell this type of food, and the second is to give it away. Here's another example. When I watch the Cooking Network and they're making desserts, forget it. I immediately crave something sweet and feel the need to get it. The same thing goes for magazines with beautiful pictures of sweets. It's hard to pass by, but if you don't always have these foods in your path, you'll be able to avoid eating them. This is why I often change the channel, put down the magazine, or walk out of the room. I highly recommend reading a book entitled Sugar Blues by William Duffy. It's a standard in the industry and the facts cannot be refuted. It will absolutely change your life. It's available in paperback at your local bookstore and it's a real eye-opener. You'll never look at sugar in the same way again. Once you begin eliminating sugars from your diet, or at least cutting back on them, you will immediately notice the difference. Try this and you will never regret it. Another suggestion is to be aware of your breathing. I'm not telling you to be over-aware because this is self-defeating, but when you feel tense or out of sorts, stop and notice the way you're breathing. Are you using your upper chest to breathe? This washes out the combination of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Most people are not breathing properly, and this greatly contributes to heightened levels of anxiety, and this can lead to feelings of depersonalization. How can you think with a clear head when you're not receiving the proper amount of oxygen? Make it your choice to check in only when you feel tense and take a cleansing breath or two. One or two are enough. Breathe in through your nose, using your stomach, not your upper chest. Hold for a few minutes and then slowly exhale through your mouth. The exhale must be full as well. Most people do not exhale fully. In a moment or two, you'll feel relaxed, less tense, and ready to go. It only takes a minute, and this small exercise is well worth your attention. Check and see if your shoulders are tense too, and if you're clenching your jaw. Always loosen your stomach muscles for best results. This mini relaxation skill is an instant way to feel more relaxed at work, at home, even in driving your car on the way home or when socializing. No one notices you're doing it, and it works really fast. Anytime I've ever felt extreme stress, I've always noticed that my stomach muscles are clenched tight. This is why it's really important to learn how to loosen these muscles. When you do, you will free up your breathing and feel so much more relaxed. It's worth taking the time to do this. As I said in a previous audio, choose to spend more time outdoors. This is one of the premier laws of healthy living. We spend far too much time indoors and breathe in stale air. We travel and breathe in stale air, and we spend work time in offices filled with stale air. No, it's not dangerous or harmful, but your body rejuvenates in a much more expedient manner when you breathe in fresh air, when you walk in oxygen, when you immerse yourself outdoors in nature. If there's a park near your home, walk in it. If there's grass rather than concrete, walk on it. If there's open sky and less buildings, be in those surroundings, or create your own sanctuary, a quiet place, preferably outdoors, where you can relax, clear your mind, and take in the outdoors without interruptions or thoughts of what you have to do next. This is about emptying your mind of worry, giving it a rest. Drink water, pure water, and continue to do so. Pass on the soda and hydrate your body with pure water, and you'll be glad you did so. You'll feel more alert because your body will be less stressed when hydrated. When you find yourself speaking frequently, your mouth becomes dry. Heat in the winter dries the body as well. Warm weather increases the need for pure water, and so does stress. Our body is made up to over 70% water, and loss will result in a stress to keep it functioning properly. Simple living alleviates stress. Simplicity will eliminate stress and most probably add years to your life. We spend too much time rushing through life, trying to keep up with everyone else and losing ourselves in the process. This is a fact. It may be time for you to simplify your own life. This does not entail sacrificing the things you love, not by a long shot. Living a simple life involves proper diet and nutrition, pure water, fresh air, exercise, sunlight, and rest. Balance in everything is essential. Dr. Andrew Weil states that balance can be achieved by eating all different types of foods. He advocates variety in your daily menu and not becoming caught up on one food group or another. All the food groups are necessary for good health. When you eat a variety of foods, you ensure the full spectrum of vitamins and nutrients. Variety is not only the spice of life, but a healthful way of living as well. Speaking of spices, I highly recommend you eliminate monosodium glutamate or MSG from your diet. This is an excitotoxin that can stimulate and damage nerve cells and is detrimental to your health and well-being. Just recall how you felt after a large meal at a restaurant that put too much MSG in the food. Chances are you felt woozy, fuzzy in the head, sleepy, and had difficulty shaking the cobwebs. This may sound all too familiar for those who have struggled with depersonalization. Now, your brain has not been damaged by MSG, but it does produce feelings that are very similar to depersonalization. But your goal is to allow your mind to refresh. And when you're vulnerable and feelings mimic depersonalization, it can remind and upset you. This is unnecessary. So for the time being, and probably for the future too, avoid these foods and keep a clear mind. You don't need them. You certainly do not benefit by them in any way. Simplicity in your life also involves eliminating clutter. Often we hang on to things and don't let go. Our lives are so filled with obligations and duties that we can't find a spare moment for ourselves. We need this downtime. Everyone does. Learn to say no when appropriate and postpone or beg off appointments when possible. Take some time for yourself. You're not obligated to call everyone back in the same evening. Your telephone messages and emails can wait as well. I'm not advocating being rude, but I am suggesting to think of yourself once in a while. If you burn yourself out, which essentially leads to feelings similar to depersonalization, you'll not be any good to anyone else. So take that extra moment for you. You deserve it. Dr. Wayne Dyer mentioned in his book, The Power of Intention, that his newest answering machine message goes something like this. Hello, this is Dr. Wayne Dyer, and I want to feel good. If your message is intended to do anything other than that, please call Dr. Phil. I love this for its straightforward approach, and it's not selfish either. It's merely his intention to be happy, and it should be yours as well. You deserve it as much as the next guy. It really is okay to protect yourself from the onslaught of too much stress in your life. If you don't look out for you, who will? You owe this to yourself. The people who go through life peacefully are the ones who look out for themselves. This is your responsibility. You are just as important as everyone else. So take the time to take those time outs. Choose to nurture yourself. Life will become a lot easier and you will be a happier person. And this will reflect on others who are around you as well. Let's face it, depersonalization is spawned from giving it all away, pleasing the entire world, and leaving little energy for yourself. It's time to make a choice. It's time to stop and take the time to save your energy and make wiser decisions. You have the ability to conserve your energy if you wish. You can expend it on everyone else, or you can save a little for you. It's basically a no-brainer. You know, in the long run, you really have more to give to others after you take care of yourself. You feel healthier and you can share more with others. And others will respect this as well. It's all about simple choices. When you unclutter your life, you create room for abundance. This is why it's necessary to get rid of the unnecessary clutter in your life. When you do so, you create a vacuum that allows you to receive more of the good things. So take the time to unclutter your life, all the junk, the things you've been tripping over, both physically and emotionally, and the worries that only lead to a tired mind. Why not trade up to a simpler, more rewarding life? You have the ability to simplify your life, your job, and your family. It's fine to delegate jobs both at work and at home. Others are actually glad to help out and lend a helping hand, especially children. They enjoy doing adult chores, if you'll allow them to do so. Remember how it felt when you were allowed to mow the lawn, iron a shirt, or wash the dishes for the first time. Even doing chores in school were fun when we were children. Everyone fought over the chance to wash the blackboards, clean the erasers, or carry messages for our teachers. Allow others to help you. By doing so, you are allowing them the gift to help another person. This gives them a lift as well. Financial stresses are often unavoidable, but this is a normal part of life too, and most have experienced this at one point or another. But simplifying your life can often cut back on unnecessary expenditures. Material things may come and go, but true relationships are the key to a happier life. Once you realize this, it removes the stress of needing to prove who you are through all you accumulate in material items. It's all about changing your perspective. Bottom line is to be authentic and accept yourself. Know who you are and what you are about. Don't try to be someone you never were or never wanted to be anyway. It takes strong character to develop self-acceptance, to let go of wanting everyone to love you. Instead of needing to be surrounded by an overabundance of acquaintances, I found my life works better when I focus on my immediate family and close friends. Most of my friends have been around since childhood and are more like family to me anyway. Huge numbers do not count. We're not in a competition, and when it comes down to it, our nearest and dearest are always by our side in the long run. And so live your life honestly and take the time to observe once in a while. You don't always have to be on or the funny person in the group. Just be who you really are and know what works for you. Trust your instincts. When you forget perfection, you're already ahead of the game. Yes, life can be a game, and the ones with less stress are the ones who will truly win. Strive to make it simple, and you can never go wrong. There's a lot in life to appreciate. Take the time to appreciate yourself as well. You have a lot to offer, and once you realize this, you'll give up the fight. This simple path provides you with enough energy to negotiate all the good times and rough spots. This is your road to successful living. Take the simple path and enjoy life to the fullest.